Previously on Ballz.
Just fire off the SMS to Mr. Campese there. You got an SMS coming through, Camper. MMS, actually. So we expect to see you there. Now that you're back home. Back in KZN, are we?
Mate, travel takes pain in the bum, isn't it, sometimes? Especially when an international flight gets delayed for 3 hours, and then you miss the connection flight next day, and then you find that the local airline decides to cancel its flight.
Hey.
Yeah, bit of a mess. But I'm here.
You got home. That's good. Nice to see. And, first of all, happy birthday, Mr. Campese, for Sunday.
Thank you. I'm past that now. 2 days ago.
Over 50. Now, did anything special happen while you were overseas there, or is this all now happening when you're back home?
It was nice. My wife and kids sang happy birthday to me, which was nice, and then I had a birthday cake when I came home.
Fantastic. Awesome stuff. Well, I still can't believe you're actually 50. I mean...
Yeah, scary, isn't it?
Wow. Today's one of those days where everyone we speak to, like Michael Lum, I couldn't believe he's 32 years old already. I still think
you look 32, David.
Hey?
You look 32.
Yeah. All right.
After a month in England, fantastic.
Yeah, well, look at the bank balance. That's all you got to do. Check the bank balance.
Yes, that's very important.
Okay, so did you get a chance to watch the semi-finals?
I watched a bit of it, not all of it, but I saw that I actually tipped the Lions to beat the Stormers. Would have been good, but obviously in the last couple of seconds it wasn't fantastic, was it?
No, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, it's almost kind of similar to the 2007 Super Rugby game, I suppose. It's it's one of those where, and it's amazing how often it happens where in the dying seconds you're leading the game. It's a playoff game. Just kick the ball out, just get. Otherwise, if you're not going to kick it out properly, and you've got possession, wind the clock down and give away possession to the other side.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that a couple of times this year, and I think it's Wales did Australia as well. They had the game won, and they kick it away, and eventually give a penalty away. I mean, rugby's about the ball, as we all know, so it's very frustrating. But I think the other game was pretty exciting. Well, it wasn't exciting, but it was one-way traffic. It was the Kings versus the Cheetahs. So I actually expected it to be close, but I tell you, they got their backsides kicked, didn't they? The Kings.
Over 50 points. Now, just explain something to me, Ed, to anybody. There is another game, right?
Yes, this weekend, is it?
Why?
They're not just
isn't that for the bottom? Isn't that for the team to go up or be relegated? Is that what it's all about?
I thought it was a return game. They get to play home and away. So, but I'm saying, why bother? I mean, they take 50 points in their own backyard. Now they've got to go to Bloemfontein. It's going to be more embarrassing. They'll probably take 70.
Yeah. But why would you play 2 games?
Because it's unfair for team. Because.
Well, why don't they just pick an oval somewhere where they don't just have one game, neutral oval?
Who's going to go and watch that?
Not many one.
Yeah, exactly.
Not many.
At least they got a bit of a crowd in Port Elizabeth, and they'll probably get a bit of a crowd in Bloem, knowing that they're now safe.
Also, the Kings are going to play Super Rugby next year.
Yeah, but this is the whole crux of the matter. They could take over 100 points in a playoff game against a Cheetah side that didn't do too well in Super Rugby this year.
Exactly.
And then expect to go.
That's scary, isn't it?
Well, they're playing. Just on that, they're playing in PE this weekend.
Where was the game last week?
Bloem.
Was that Bloem? Okay. Well, they'll still get 70 points.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, I don't think. Right. But they're playing in PE.
So what happens? So what happens if they lose?
No, I think it's cumulative points. So they basically got to overcome a 30-something point deficit. So they've got to beat the Cheetahs by more than 30-something points.
They'll have to beat them by at least 40 points.
40 points.
Yeah, but what for, though? So if the Kings get their ass kicked again, backside again, what happens? No?
The Kings get their ass beaten. They stay in the first division, and the Cheetahs stay in the Currie Cup.
They stay in first division, but they'll still play Super Rugby.
Yeah.
Okay. That's almost as bad as Australia, but anyway.
Yeah. So they'll play a year of Super Rugby where they've got to try not to finish last.
Yeah.
And if they do finish last, then they will play against the Lions, who will have lost 90% of their players.
Yeah, so now let me have a think of this next year. So the Lions will play whoever comes last in the Super 15.
Yeah.
But all the players who are contracted from the Lions next year, so the Kings and all that, if the Kings come last, those players already contracted to the Kings who are ex-Lions, who do they play for?
No, that's the thing. The Lions have only lost, I think only one player is going to the Kings from the Lions.
No, but the other players have gone
other
They've gone everywhere,
franchises.
haven't they? They've gone elsewhere.
Yeah, some of them are on loan, like Franco van der Merwe, for instance, going to the Sharks on loan. But that is for Super Rugby. So, by Sanzar rules, they will not be allowed to play in that promotion relegation or that playoff game. So, in other words, they can't go back and play for the Kings in that game because they contracted for Super Rugby. So, Sanzar rules will eliminate them from playing any Super Rugby related games for the EP Kings or for the Southern Kings. So the question, it begs the question.
Okay.
Sorry, for the Lions, I mean. So it begs the question.
Yeah.
Because,
that's what I mean. So the Lions, what sort of chance have they got if all their players are playing elsewhere?
yeah, well, exactly. Well, the players that they have kept, they're going to be playing against the Glasgow, Josh Strauss's team. So they're getting this is where it's got down to. They've got get-together games to keep them busy during Super Rugby against a whole lot of Northern Hemisphere teams.
And how much money is that going to cost to go and play Glasgow?
It's messy. No, I think they're coming here. As far as I know, they're coming here.
I know they've also got games scheduled against the big ones, our big ones like the Bulls, the Sharks, the Stormers. But they've also got games.
But that'll be warm-up games. That's not going to be during Super Rugby. None of these teams are going to take their break.
I don't know if it's staggered throughout the year.
No.
Well,
that's crazy if they do that.
Well, no, that's very confusing.
It's probably the worst scenario of any they could have come up with as far as this whole structure goes.
No, definitely. But anyway,
yeah.
Final this week, so I think the Sharks probably show that they're probably the best side in the Co Cup this year. And the Bulls, obviously, again, I think it's great that the Bulls are losing, and now hopefully everyone in South Africa can realise there is another style of rugby out there that's been successful, and hopefully things can start to change.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, the Sharks, just with the amount of depth they got, and I mean, Plummer had the luxury of putting, I think, four or five Springboks on the bench. And literally, I mean, if the Bulls weren't 10 points plus clear in that game, they literally had no chance anyway, because as soon as they started bringing those guys off the bench, Beast and Willem Albert, that was basically game over. So he has got the luxury, and I mean, I spoke to someone at the in Durban today, and they were saying Plum's got a problem, and his problem is a selection problem. The problem is that who does he start with? He's got an embarrassment of riches there at the moment.
Well, I mean, that's where every team should be in that situation.
Yeah.
The more players like that, that's what you want, especially Super Rugby, when you've got the amount of players that you can bring on and off. I mean, that's what you want, but unfortunately not every team is like that. But I think this week, the Sharks should win realistically because of the style of rugby they've been playing, and the Stormers, obviously, or whatever you call them.
Province.
Obviously, because of their Super 15 sort of style of rugby, they did change a bit, but I can't really see them trying to emulate, what they've done over the last couple of weeks when the Sharks' defence is going to be right on them.
Yeah.
And so the Sharks did beat them in that Super 15 sort of semi-final as well. So it's, they were never in the game, were they? They're not good at playing catch-up rugby, the Stormers, or the Province, sorry. So that's where I think they're going to struggle. If they throw the ball around, the Sharks are the team. If you drop it, they'll, a bit like the Crusaders, if you make a mistake, the other team will capitalise on it.
Yeah. And I mean, they talk about the fact, even this last weekend in the semi-final, that the Stormers benefit, or the Province guys benefited from having their Springboks back. But I mean, the ones they've lost are the guys that clearly I think they are missing, and that's your Andries Beckers. Who was the other one? The Jean de Villiers, obviously. Yeah. I mean, those are Tian Liebenberg. Those are key guys for them. Missing three guys of that caliber through injury is seriously making them a little bit hamstrung.
Yeah, I mean, you could also, unfortunately, because of the spring tours as well. I mean, you could also say, well, why don't we have a week off?
Yeah.
To give teams, so you're playing the best possible players playing, because obviously the amount of football these guys, rugby they're playing this year is a lot. So I mean, there's a lot of teams. We saw the Bledisloe Cup last week as well, where it was a draw, where Australia just defended. They didn't want to score tries because they couldn't. All they wanted to do was stop the Kiwis, but you must admit how gutsy was Richie McCaw, 81st minute of the game, taking the scrum 10 metres out from his own line, and said, we're going to run it. I mean, not too many teams or captains would actually, excuse the expression, have the balls to do that when if you make a mistake you could lose the game. But that's never in their mind, is it? They're very positive and they play some good rugby.
Well, I mean, he might have been a little bit not quite with his senses after being punched by, who was it?
Higginbottom.
Higginbottom maybe rattled him around a little bit, so maybe he wasn't quite thinking straight. But yeah, their winning streak is over, but they still remain undefeated for all of that time.
Yeah.
So what remains then, Mr. Campese, is to find out from you who you think. Then it sounds like you thinking the Sharks are going to have a fairly comfortable win in the final.
Yeah, well, you can't just turn up, can you? It's a final, so you've got to go and play your best rugby. If you go out there like I think the Sharks did last year against the Lions and expect to win, and then the other team just sort of turn up on the day, you're in big trouble. The thing is, you waste a whole year if you come to the final and lose. Yeah. So there'll be a lot of pressure, and I just hope that they go out there. And again, I keep on saying this, but I hope the referee allows the game to be played in the right spirit.
Yaku Paper.
Yeah, he's just SMS'd us.
Who, Yaku?
Yeah.
Are we going to chat to him tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah.
The amount of time a referee can make a wrong decision and put pressure on teams is still alarmingly high. So I just think it's great that obviously the Sharks are playing at home and they've had a pretty good season, especially making the Super 15 final.
Yep.
But unfortunately, travel got to them, and now they're in the Currie Cup final. So and plus they're playing a good style of rugby. I can't see the Stormers really sort of stand up to the plate and sort of upsetting them at all in the final.
All right, bad news for Simon and all the other Mountain Goat supporters who might be, because I still flummoxes me how people were thinking rain was going to be advantageous to the Bulls. As someone said, how often do they have wet weather up in Pretoria in winter versus rain down in Durban? So that point was proven. But I know you guys like to think that in wet weather you guys are the bee's knees.
The shiz.
The shiz. There's your AccuWeather for Saturday. Have a look at that. A nice big round sunshine for you got some nice weather coming this week, Mr. Campese.
Yeah, it's pretty cold. It rained today. It was pretty. My wife Laura picked me up an absolute pour down today. So
rain tomorrow as well.
Cold.
Rain tomorrow as well.
Yeah, but I do know for a fact every time the Sharks play on a Saturday about 5 o'clock. It pours.
Nah. Not a drop of rain scheduled for basically your part of the world from Thursday onwards, all the way through to Wednesday next week.
Well, don't hold your breath because we'll wait and see.
Nah, I think when it says just sunshine, it's going to be a beautiful day.
No, definitely. I hope it is, because I think everybody wants a dry day, so it's going to be a great carnival atmosphere, which you do get at Kings Park as well.
You going to the game, Campo?
Oh, I'm not sure. My wife sort of, so I've been away for a month, so it'd be interesting. They just want to go to a pub and have a few drinks. I think it's probably be easier. Yeah. I mean, to get to the stadium, then it's a bit of a madhouse there. So if you haven't got tickets as well, so it's very frustrating. But anyway, we'll make a plan.
All right, cool.
Hopefully there'll be 1 or 2 tickets available.
It sounds like you need to assert some paternal dominance on that household there. I can hear it going ballistic in the background.
Yeah, mate, that's what happens when you've been away a month, but that's okay. The wife's a fantastic job.
Fantastic.
Great to be home.
It was nice to have you back, Campo. Thanks a lot for joining us today. We'll chat to you on Monday again, get the aftermath of the Currie Cup final, and of course, there's not even a break week because then everyone heads overseas for those ridiculous end-of-year tours.
Oh, I tell you, I've just been over there for a month, and it's just quite interesting, the build-up, and I said to the Welsh guys, I said, guys, I played 15 years of international rugby, and I think I played Wales 6 times in 15 years. I said, you guys, Wales have played Australia 5 times since the World Cup last year, and you still can't beat us. So I said, next month, if you can't beat us, I think it's time to give it away.
That's unlikely to get up the nose of the people in the UK, Campo.
But the other thing is, I said also that you guys like Kiwi coaches, so I'm going to send over Robbie Deans next year.
They don't keep him. We've had 1 or 2 already. Thanks a lot, Campo. Enjoy it. Send love to the family, and so don't forget to reply to the SMS I sent you.
I will reply.
Happy birthday for last Sunday.
Happy birthday for Sunday again. Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. Bye. Here we go, Campo back in the flush out. Tuesday today, I know, but he was flying yesterday. Back again next Monday.
2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mondays to Fridays live on Ballz.co.za. Ballz.co.za.